map's going to be a little bit of a risk. You don't want to just be throwing maps away, but it's it's a calculated risk. What's the chance of your opponent actually scouting you early? A lot of Protoss players just won't even scout on this map.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I would agree with that. Some PvP players just like to take it. What would you say? Take it very chancy. They just would do a build and not really stray too much, especially on a 4-player map. Protoss players don't seem to care about that, but they are close position spawns, so that's interesting.
Yeah, that's going to change things up a little bit. So if we're all in game, overlays are off, then we'll be all set to go into this first game and introduce our players. So in the lower left-hand corner, I'm going to be starting with the pink Protoss player representing Alien Invasion. He is going back to Korea in just a couple of days, but his time in Europe has been pretty strong. He's had some fantastic finishes, including Randover, Aces ROG, and at IEM Cologne. He is Patience.
And spawning down in the right-hand corner, playing as the T Protoss, playing for Team Love Your Girlfriend, it is Tassadar.
So, I mean...
No chills.
This map is... No chills. So, yeah, this game should be sick. I'm so hyped to see what happens, because Alterzim, honestly, I hate playing on it. I can't stand playing on it. And it seems like such a kind of coin-flippy map, because things can happen, the thing is you play a greed, but if your opponent goes for something ridiculously aggressive to kind of blank counter you, that's something you're going to pay for, and it creates so many mind games and just games we don't usually see on other maps in the map pool.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It definitely is a weird map. It's quite interesting why they actually threw it into the map pool. It's definitely a map that's good for some who's playing ZVP, but for PvP I haven't actually seen too much of it. I think WCS was Challenger. I think that's all I've seen of this map being played in PvP. Not really too big into watching PvP, but I definitely big into watching Patience and Tassadar play, so...
Yeah, man. If I'm not mistaken, yes, that is Patience. With a probe already in the mineral line of Tassadar. Now, Tassadar is also going to find his opponent in the first position he scouts here, so, no real surprises, nothing crazy like that next first, which, it was unlikely, but now we know for sure, nothing is like that's going to happen. We're not going to see any mega greed, because these guys have probes in each other bases, you can't get off with anything too greedy or too ridiculous. The cybernetics cores coming down at similar times. The slight difference here just being that Tassadar isn't investing in his delete right now. He could still cancel that if he wants to. We'll just have to wait and see if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be interested right now, because these players are scared that they're in close spawns.
Have you got the overlay off?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'm not shouting overlay in chat.
No, it's fixed. It's
Okay,
not
okay.
on. Believe
Okay,
me,
I'm
I have casted many of your team leads. I know. I'm sorted. But as I was saying there, these players have spawned in close spawns and they have both stared at each other. So it's going to be interesting to see whether they're going to step back a bit, play a little bit more passive, maybe go for a Stargate. But we do see Patience is actually thrown down a Stargate right now. So that was correct in that. So there's not going to be too much aggression coming out of him unless he follows it up with like a free gateway rush on that. But it looks like Tassadar might be going for something else.
Yeah, Tassadar not really revealing too much right now. He has not built anything, and there's his tech. It's also going to be the Stargate, coming down ever so slightly later. Now, overall, unless one player goes Phoenixes straight away, there's no real difference here. Patience has the ever so slight advantage. His Oracle, it's going to get in his opponent's base a little bit faster. It's going to see his opponent's Stargate a little bit faster. He can start making that first Phoenix a little faster. But overall, oh wow, he actually goes straight into Phoenixes here, so that's not even going to matter. If anything, this is bad for Tassadar now, especially if he starts up an Oracle.
Yeah, that's definitely true. He's just going to get completely direct entered. And the reason why Phoenix are so strong is a lot of players go for these sort of immortal pitches really in PvP. And I think Patience is actually playing this really smart, especially with these close spawns. You get 4 Phoenix. These 4 Phoenix are going to help you to pressure.
Patience is under a little bit of trouble here as he's trying to micro against the Zealot. He might also lose his Mothership Core. This Stalker is chasing it, and this is not good. He's going to take down his opponent's Mothership Core, and he does keep his own alive just by the skin of his teeth. Probe's having to fight, though. And, well, Tassadar. That was a nice little attack. How much damage did he get done? 3 worker kills, not so bad. And he knows, of course, that the Phoenix production started from his opponent, so no Oracles on the map. And Patience just with a single Phoenix lead, which is going to mean nothing by the time that these Phoenixes are in his opponent's base.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. That recall was so close there to getting finished, but then Phoenix were able to kill that Mothership Core. That was really exciting there at that point in time of the game. I sound so weird today for some reason. But anyway, the Phoenix count for both players is at the same count right now, 2-2. But it looks like Patience nearly lost 2 Phoenix there for the price of 1. So that was very, very dangerous by him. on that side of the map. But over in Patient Space, we do see more Phoenix being produced. No, a Natural actually going to be placed down, just as I say, no Natural. And just like Patience just wants to stabilise right now.
Yeah, both these players are going to head into a macro game here, or at least a more macro-oriented game, for a little while, because the Nexuses are starting up, and we're in this weird situation where we've got Phoenix versus Phoenix, and, you know, it's so rare that we actually get Phoenix versus Phoenix, despite how common the Stargate openings are in this matchup, quite simply because a lot of players don't bother going into Phoenix, even if they open Oracle, and it's going to be Patience making the first move here to start getting things rolling, throwing down that fleet beacon, and he's going to probably add on a second Stargate in the very near future as well, especially as his second base starts to finish up, and he's going to be able to start taking that extra gas, because you just cannot let your opponent take a lead in Phoenixes, because if you do that, you know, you're in a lot of trouble, because the Phoenixes, they win the air war, and then they lift up everything and win the ground war, so it's going to be tough. You know, one thing Tassadar could maybe do is throw down a Templar Archives or something crazy, but he's just going to throw down a second Stargate as well.
This is actually very interesting, Morty. I've never ever seen this before in the amount of PvP that I've watched and also casted. Usually you would see players play Phoenix, or I've seen players play Phoenix, in the sense of going up to maybe like 8 Phoenix at most, never ever throwing down a double Stargate to even get more out to try and counter their opponent. I've never seen this, and especially with the early fleet beacon that we have for Patience, this is definitely going to be an interesting match.
Yeah, the thing is, Tassadar has to be really careful, because if Patience gets Anion Pulse Crystals and he does not, he's just going to lose all his Phoenix. Patience will be able to kite for absolutely ever, and that is, you know, not the way you want to have things going.
No, that's definitely true, and especially in Phoenix versus Phoenix. If your opponent has one more Phoenix and you, it's sort of the same as Muta versus Muta, you're going to get shredded on, and especially, but no upgrades have started yet for any of the Protoss players. 4 there are. And I'm quite surprised at that, especially with Patience throwing down that free fleet beacon. He's definitely trying to get a lead with the Phoenix upgrades in the sense of them Phoenix range. So it's definitely going to help him out in a sense, but I would like to see some upgrades coming in. But Anion Pulse Crystals is going to finish, as we do see, guys, in around about 5 seconds. So
and this is Patience's timing, man. He's invested in this, and here we go. He's going to start kiting, and now Tassadar probably going to start feeling a little bit silly, because I mean, he can't actually engage this. Phoenix will just kite away. He loses 1 there, a little bit sloppy by Patience, but 2 go down for Tassadar, and this is not good as Patience re-engages Eccentric. Tassadar is in so much trouble right now. He needs to find himself an answer, and Patience just isn't going to let him get that.
no, Patience is not going to let him get that. He's just kiting these Phoenixes back and back, and I don't even think these Stalkers are going to help out much. These Phoenix will just be able to lift them Stalkers up.
The thing is, he can't really lift the Stalkers, because if he stays around too long, you know, once Tassadar's Phoenixes are in range, you know, they're in range, they're not going to fall out of range, so, you know, he can't stick around too long and let Tassadar get in range, because Tassadar is a little bit ahead in Phoenix count, and now Tassadar starts up his own fleet beacon, so you can see, though, what Patience has done is he's found himself a way to be able to slowly transition out of this. Already he's got +1 on the way, he's got Twilight Council on the way, most likely going to be so that he can go for Blink, which is going to help him a lot against defending the ever-growing Phoenix count of Tassadar.
Yeah, the Blink would be actually quite nice for him to do, but remember, Wardy, he's got no way of scouting DTs, or having vision on DTs, so DTs would be really, really strong at this point in time.
Yeah. You know, he's actually thrown down Templar Archives, which I also like, because of course he can feed back that Archons are going to be great against Phoenixes as well. I actually mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, you can get that Templar Archives as a way to counter this, and, you know, I would love to see, you know, even try and get DTs, because unless Tassadar makes an Oracle just in case, you know, and the thing is, Tassadar, he has to keep making Phoenixes, because he doesn't know what his opponent's up to. He's got no scouting information. He doesn't know how many more Phoenixes Patience is making, which in fact he isn't. So Tassadar, he could have cut Phoenixes already, but he just doesn't know that yet. So, very interesting things here. I mean, Patience's upgrade lead is becoming ridiculous in this game. +2 now on the way. He's also 10 workers ahead.
Yeah, I just don't see any chance for Tassadar right now. He's really sitting in his base with his tail behind his legs. He's actually afraid to move out. Patience isn't. Patience is actually taking his far base as we speak, and he is just getting an economic lead, an upgrade lead, an army lead, and what else?
Now, Tassadar's going to move across the map. His Anion Pulse Crystal's just finished, but there's already Templars here ready to feedback, and here we go. A lot of feedbacks coming in, and Archon's coming down too, and this is just going to help this fight go in the favour of Patience, and Tassadar can't really commit anymore, and you know, this was a good play by Patience. You know, he had just what he needed, more or less, to minimize the damage, because if he didn't have just that right then, these Phoenixes would be killing the majority of his probes right now.
Yeah, and then we do see Tassadar actually starting to panic. We're throw down the robotics bay. He knows his opponent is not going to commit to any more Phoenixes at this point in time. He is
Yeah,
at the
he's
count
actually
that he wants to be
making-
at.
He's actually making Void Rays, which I don't necessarily think is a bad idea. And he's also lowering the probe count of patients as well, which is something he needs to start doing. You know, he has to use this Phoenix energy for something. But them Archons, they do manage to deflect, and of course Archons unable to be lifted by them Phoenixes means they're like one of the better counters apart from their lack of mobility. So, interested to see where this goes for Tassadar. I mean, he's going to keep on making Void Rays. I wonder if he just... it's kind of tough because if Patience invests into Storm, realizing that his opponent's now building Void Rays, Storm actually does really well against a kind of big clump of Void Rays and Phoenixes. So that's something we've got to consider here. I wonder if Tassadar goes into Colossi. I don't think he has the economy to. I think he has to, if anything, just get Immortals. Oh, well, he is going to throw down that Robo-Bay. What do you think about that?
That's actually very interesting. Usually we go for a free base economy before you would really start pumping their classes, well, especially in PvP, because you want to get a high amount out to be able to counter your opponents. But I don't know if this is the best idea really for Tassadar. It may work out, it may not, depending on what sort of composition. We've only really seen Archons from Patience, depending on what it continues with.
I tell you what the issue is going to be. The issue is that Patience has just built 9 gateways, or it might have been, he's just built 7 gateways, and that's going to bring him up to a total of 11. And do you know how many gateways Tassadar has right now? 2. And I mean, you can make as many Void Rays as you want, but they build pretty slowly. They are not going to be able to keep up with the rate of production of 11 gateways of gateway units, especially when these gateway units, their +3 is on the way, and +1 is only just now starting for Tassadar. So Tassadar is going to really be kind of behind on gateway units, but ahead on these tech-heavy units. So I guess it kind of all comes down to engagement. If Tassadar gets left alone for too long, he might just have the better army in terms of you know, what it's made up of.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. The Void Ray count is starting to grow and grow, and the more that grows, the harder it's going to be for Patience to be able to counter that. He does have High Templars on the map, which would be good for Storm, and 2 what do you call them? Forget the name of it. 2 Archons. That's it.
Oh, sorry.
For some reason I could not get their name. And 2 Archons, but I don't know if that's enough for the amount of Void Rays right now that are going to be coming out in the map, especially by the time Patience is ready to fight Tassadar. Tassadar should have them classes out and built, so that's going to be scary for Patience.
Yeah, I really like Patience's position this time. I mean, Storm on the way, again, it's going to work really well against what's going to be a heavy clump of Void Rays in the sky. It's going to weaken them enough for the Stalkers to come in underneath. And, you know, Patience doesn't actually have that many Stalkers just yet, but once he lays them Storms down, he's going to have so many Archons as well. And you can see he's continuing to just warp in Templars with his Scat and then Zealots with the rest of it. And, I mean, the thing is, I mean, if he just overruns his opponent with Zealots, what's Tassadar going to do? Because without, you know, a ground army of his own, he's just dead. I mean, he'll lose his Colossi very quickly to charge Zealots. You know, I still don't see. I mean, the supplies are fairly equal. The upgrades are still in a heavy advantage for Patience, but I just don't see how Tassadar takes a fight which is really good for him right now.
Yeah, right now, if both players decide to engage, as we see Patience moving out in the map and starting to build pylons at the other side of the map, shows that he wants to be a little bit aggressive in some kind of way, maybe doing a little bit of harassment, or bringing that army forward and just going to run over Tassadar. But I don't. As I was saying, there is double robotics by now, and especially with Charge Lad Archon, if he can get a high number of classes out, I think he'll be fine. But I don't know if Patience is going to allow him to do that.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm actually surprised Patience is still on his own side of the map, because, I mean, yes, it's very scary to attack across, yes, he doesn't know exactly what his opponent's composition is, but I'm surprised, you know, he hasn't even, you know, positioned himself to move to be aggressive. Oh, all the Phoenixes are going to go down here, or at least the majority of them for Tassadar. 3 remain. And they kind of lose their, you know, the amount of threat they can generate on the map now. You know, he can't really come in and pick up probes anymore. So this may be at Patience's moment. He is moving out to the middle. How far is he going to go? He needs to attack sometime soon because that Colossi number is definitely starting to build up for Tassadar.
Yeah, that's just the danger zone right now for Patience. But it looks like he wants to go now. He is going to move forward. And does he have Storm? He does. So this is going to be actually a quite strong attack against the army. He does have 3 classes on the other hand. But he's going to have to use that Mothership Core to kite these back. Yeah,
this army is starting to move forward here for Patience. These few Phoenix in the front, I don't think they're going to really be able to do anything that useful. As, you know, he's kind of seen the army with hallucinations. He's beginning to move forward. I'm so worried about it. And these Colossi can sit behind the Nexus and just never be hit. And these Zealots are just going to melt from Patience. I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but the Storms are coming down. But he very quickly disengages from this fight, realizing this is not something he really wants to commit much further to. But he lost a lot of Zealots there.
Yeah, that was definitely a trait that he was not efficient on. I'm going to say that in a nice way. But there's just a lot of classes out in the map, really. And if Tassadar can really warp in a lot of units to tank the damage that these Archons and Storms are going to put out, beautiful Storms on their class. If he can tank that damage, I think he may be able to take this game.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. I mean, we see some more Zealots, some more, a lot more Archons coming in for Patience now. You know, Tassadar does have to back off. He can't run in there just with Colossi because these Archons will catch up with them and so on. So that's something you've got to remember. A single Templar is going to go down here, but the second one is saved. I mean, these Colossi, they still don't have anything on the ground to tank for them. There comes the rest of the Void Rays. And I mean, with, you know, if he just had some money for like 10 to 15 Zealots right now, I think Tassadar would march straight through here, and he might even just do that anyway. He can still kite backwards, and this is a heavy Archon army from Patience. It's not the best for chasing down things.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that, but if we look at the economy right now that Tassadar has, he's 2 base economy, or, oh my god, that's only 1 base economy right now. What happened to all the probes of the natural? I didn't see any.
Wow, what came into the natural? 34 works killed. Did he have DTs or something? Surely not.
No, I don't think
Was
so.
there just a Zealot run by?
Maybe.
Wow.
Oh, he did. He had a War Prism out. He must have.
Oh. Wow.
Oh.
We are genuinely awful. Wow. Well, you know, we were too focused on the fight at the third base, so we apologise for that. But yeah, you're right. There was a War Prism out for quite some time, and well, Patience is getting ready to move on forward again here. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, Tassadar, he has very few probes, so if Patience, you know, he can't really build a bigger army than this. And oh, we're gonna have a fight, and Tassadar gets a lot of free hits off here, and this is not good for Patience, getting chased back here very, very quickly. And definitely does not want to engage into this. And the problem is, the longer he waits, the more time Tassadar has to build up this kind of massive death ball because of his lack of probes. I mean, Patience is on 80 probes compared to 37. That's not very good. I mean, he's got a bank, but he's got nothing to spend on right now, I don't think.
Yeah, Patience has the economy, but not the high-tech units, really, that Tassadar has. He is going to recall and leave them Void Rays actually in an interesting position. There is
this is
7 Archons. Will that be enough to kill these?
He recalled to get the, I don't know, I mean, he recalled to get them Zealots, and I mean, I think it was a bit of a mistake, because he's going to lose a lot here, a lot more than he needed to anyways. He will eventually maybe clean all of this up. No, he's going to lose everything. This was a big mistake by Tassadar. This was huge. He's lost all of his Void Rays, and now there's actually only Colossi here. And I mean, again, they can kite backwards as much as they want, but this was a win for Patience. He's severely cut down the amount of army his opponent has right now.
Yeah, this is such an insane game 1 so far. I definitely did not expect Tassadar to be able to stand with Patience on this level, but he's showing that he's just as good and ready to fight for him. Like, we have seen that.
This is the tech switch which is going to just kill Tassadar. The 4 Tempests on the way. I saw them Stargates being made earlier. And of course, with the Fleet Beacon already up, his bank is spent very quickly by just making 4 Tempests. So, and I mean, 4 Tempests, now there's actually no answer to that. You know, before there kind of was with 6 to 7 Void Rays on the map.
Yeah.
And, but now there really isn't.
It's actually quite scary for Tassadar. His economy is just dying right now. It's a 5 base versus 3 base, or 2 base, sorry. And really the economy for Tassadar is just dying right now at the moment, and he needs to trade so much efficiently. He's going to have to not lose any units really to be able to win this game.
The number of bases of Patience is something that we've kind of really neglected to talk about as well. We know we've been so self-centered on these armies, where Tassadar definitely has had an advantage until very recently. The Patience in the economy game is just absolutely running away with things. And yeah, well, these Zealots get caught to the top right, but I mean, that's the least of Patience's worries right now. He's now got 3-3 on the way, plus 3 ground armor continuing on, and I mean, the Tempest numbers are pretty high. I mean, there's 8 Tempests, and what anti-air is there here? A few Archons, that's really not going to help. And Patience turns around to start fighting, and I mean, he just needs to start picking off a few of these units so that he can just fight all together at the same time. He's getting chased down. He might lose a few units here. The Zealot's getting trapped between Zealots of his opponent. So still not ready to commit, but now he turns around.
Yeah, he looks like he is now. The shots are brilliant on the class high. 1 Voyager goes down, the class high goes down, and this army's just been obliterated.
There's just not the anti-air here.
GG.
I mean, there's a few Archons on the ground, but when the Zealots came in to just stop them from moving forward,